Big Phil, I got to tell you, I'm still getting over the fact that you called me last night and said you're not going to be sitting right here with me, that you're just going to call in.
Well, I just got to tell you, I'm not the smartest bulb sometimes, and I misread the text messages and everything, and I apologize greatly. But
come
you got
on.
Ross sitting there next to you, so you got good company, and I didn't know Dan was such a big, star. He's such a star. You got to have two people sit in for him?
I know.
Is that
I
what
know.
it is?
Well, it would have been nice to have three, but yeah, certainly.
Yeah, okay.
Certainly two of us. Now, did you have a weekend off from calling games yesterday?
Yes, I did. Sat on the couch yesterday, watched games. It was great. Between commercials, you're able to follow about 4 games at once.
Right.
So it was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of football. And I told my wife when the Sunday night game was at halftime, I said, I'm almost tired of football.
Almost.
Right now. But it was great to watch all the games. And you know it. Ross, you know it. Sitting on the couch, you have all the answers, baby. You're really easy. And second guess everybody, so it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Phil, I'm curious. I'm sure you were dialed in on that Patriots-Jets game. What did you think happened when Slater said we want to kick, and what do you think of Belichick's decision?
Well, a couple things. I think he said what he wanted to say. I think he forgot that when you say we want to kick off, well, you got to say you can't do that. You got to say we're going to defend the goal. And then you let the decision then is up to the other team to whether to receive or kick off. So I think that's where the confusion was. I definitely think Bill Belichick wanted to kick off. He wanted to have let the Jets have the football for many reasons. Many reasons. His defense, he had more faith in it than he did his offense. And also, I think it was this way, too. He figured if the Jets, if they could just hold them to a field goal, this is just me talking, this is how I would have thought about it, that at least it gives Tom Brady 4 downs, because the Patriot offense struggled all day getting people open, protecting Tom Brady. In fact, as I was watching it and he kicked off, I immediately, oh, wow, that's interesting. Not surprising that Bill Belichick made that decision. Not at all. It did not shock me. I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, but I understood why just watching the whole game and seeing how things transpired for both sides of his football.
Paul Burmeister, Ross Tucker, talking to Phil Simms of CBS Sports here. And Phil, thinking about you and your relationship, or what I perceive to be a relationship with Bill Belichick, most of us in the media we get what he puts out there up at the podium, which is not much, and it never really gets past that. You were a very good quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback inside the same building with him. There's got to be some trust and respect, maybe even a friendship. Probably 100 or so production meetings later, do you feel like when you're interacting with Bill before a game, is it the same face he puts on for the entire media world, or is there more of a level of conversation there?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm still trying to figure that whole thing out. Some production meetings, we get exactly what you saw. Yep, whatever his exact words were to the first question. No, we did what we want to do. There was no confusion. And but if you talk about the history of the game or bring up other situations, then he loves to talk about it. Bill is pretty quick, witted. I always say that, and people are surprised. Between that and him and Tom Coughlin, who's very quick-witted, they like to have a laugh here and now. But we get both. But most of the time, it's the information in New England after all the games and all the years I've known him. The information's very tight. They're very guarded. And, hey, you learn to deal with it. You get your information from watching practice, watching a lot, doing everything else, getting ready for the game. That's how you get prepared when you do a New England game.
Hey, Phil, watching that Jets-Patriots game and seeing how well Ryan Fitzpatrick on his 6th team, so he's representing us journeyman Ivy Leaguers very well. But when you watch Fitzpatrick or Kirk Cousins or even Alex Smith, is there a lesson there? Because I think I joked on Twitter yesterday, Phil, smart quarterbacks that get the ball out quickly can have success in the NFL. Who knew?
Well, yeah, of course, that's part of it. Listen, when you see Ryan Fitzpatrick, you say that, okay, quite honestly, this is the first time he's had success where you'd go, oh, okay, we're looking at him in a different way. Experience, his second turn with an offense that he ran in Buffalo, And let's make no bones about it, it's by far, the best cast of people he has played with, probably on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. So, and the offense really fits his skill set. In other words, you know, he's in the shotgun. He can get rid of the football quick. There's a lot of, you know, quick throws, screens, picks, whatever. You go through the whole thing. And I think, too, which he's told me, and I've said on the air, he learned a lot when he was down in Houston one year with Bill O'Brien and George Godsey, the offensive, or the coordinator, quarterback coach. They just made him see things and look at the defenses and learn to play quarterback a different way than he'd ever been taught before. So he took that, met up with Chan Gailey again, and they both have changed enough and adapted where we're seeing this on the offensive side. So it's really worked out well. You know, probably the most impressive thing is that he fought through the early season when he was not even close to physically being the guy we see now. You know, he had no arm strength. He still wasn't in the rhythm of what they were doing on the offensive side. Hard to get a new offense installed and have all the rhythm going with it early, but they fought through it. They held in there. I thought from the very beginning, before the season, the Jets were going to be a good team, a really good team. And kind of surprised they found themselves at one time. I think they were 5-5 at one time, and
they've won 5 games in a row.
Yeah, so they were 5-5, and I was just like, gosh, this team has got a lot of big-time talent, but we're finally starting to see it to come together.
You talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick, and before that, I believe we tied in Kirk Cousins in the way he's played, just in the way these two have surprised us with not only how well the team is winning, but the kind of production they have. I watch Kirk Cousins, and I look at his numbers, and I'm amazed. And as far as the eyeball test, Phil, I look at him, it looks like he's throwing the ball better in a stronger way this year than he has before. But then I say, I don't know if it's possible at that age to really improve the way you throw. Can you make sense of that for me?
Oh, well, listen, Paul, you and I talk about quarterbacks all the time. And Ross, you know, this is what the conversations lead to a lot when you talk about the NFL football teams. But there is no question it's noticeably different when you're watching. Throwing the ball with authority, of course, that comes with having confidence in the decision, but really letting the ball go. He threw about, I'd say, 6 to 8 passes in that game against Philadelphia the other night, where it was like standing on the mound, and here comes a fastball right down the middle of the plate, see if you can hit it. And that's what he did. He threw the football into some tight spots. His decision-making has turned very aggressive. You know, he's not holding on to the ball like, oh, what do I see? And, of course, you know, it goes back to this. Mike Shanahan, pretty smart guy. And he sat there every day and watched Kirk Cousins in practice. And they could see in how he interacted and how he acted as a quarterback with the team, with other people, who he is. Can he do this? And there was never second-guessing when you talked to Mike Shanahan or when you heard Kyle Shanahan talking about him. But they could only know that because they were with him every day. We are not. We were not privileged to that, so we couldn't see it or know it. But experience, a good offense, and I'll just say this. When you're a quarterback, if you don't throw the football better, what year is this for him, 5 or 4? Four. If you're not throwing the football physically better in your 4th year over your 1st year, then I'm telling you something, you're on the fast track to leaving the NFL. So he's improved greatly, and we see it. You see the difference physically. I do. It's noticeable. It's one of the reasons why they're going to the playoffs.
Well, Phil, speaking of improving greatly, obviously Cam Newton and Russell Wilson and Big Ben, but especially Cam and Russell, were on unbelievable rolls until yesterday. It's our poll question today. I want to get your take on it, though, because you played for some very, very good teams. Do you think the Panthers have a better or worse chance of winning the Super Bowl now that they lost yesterday?
I think they got a better chance. Don't hesitate for a second. It's a team that was on an emotional ride that's unbelievable. The attention was starting to come big time now, and it really came, of course, with all the things that happened between Josh Norman and Odell Beckham Jr. You know, every week they escaped a few big victories or a few moments, and, you know, emotionally it just gets to a point that I'm not saying they couldn't handle it, but I'm just saying now they can take a big sigh of relief okay, that's over. Now they can refocus. The national media is going to back off of them a little bit. Everything that Cam Newton is not going to be a story, and he's not going to be standing in front of that podium every single day, twice a day, whatever. And I really do. I've always thought that going undefeated is an unbelievable pressure for many, many reasons. And the Patriots, yeah, they handled it the year they went 16-0. But that's a veteran football team that's been through many big seasons and many big games. So I think it helps them refocus, let them relax, and we'll see how it works out. But I do think it makes it easier for them to go to the Super Bowl and win because of that loss yesterday.
Even with that loss, Phil, and the way they struggled on offense, nothing easy about getting ready for Cam Newton. To my question, if you're a defensive coordinator in the NFL thinking about the playoffs, what's tougher to get ready for, Cam Newton and his offense or Carson Palmer and what he's doing?
Oh, I think it's Carson Palmer's offense without question. I really do. And because it's got everything. It's got a quarterback that can make every single throw with ease, high, soft, over the top. These are throws that he makes some throws that Cam Newton can't make. And because Cam Newton really is a one-speed thrower most of the time. And it's fastball. Here it comes. And there's nothing wrong with that. That works. They designed their offense around that. And that's why one of the reasons why they've been so successful, they are running an offense that highlights everything about their quarterback. And they got speed on the outside. But when you look at Arizona, they're aggressive. They do everything. They've got the running back, and they got a quarterback. They got, formations. They have 4 or 5 receivers that you have to worry about. So, to me, there's more to get ready for when you play Arizona's offense than there is, Carolina's offense.
Phil, we've touched on the Peyton Manning thing a couple times this morning, and there's all kinds of talk about whether you believe it or whether you don't believe it. I guess my question would be, as a quarterback that played for a long time, let's just say he did do HGH at 36 or 37, coming off of 4 neck surgeries. How much would that bother you if he took that to help himself heal after 4 neck surgeries?
Well, it's illegal. It's against NFL rules, so that would always bother me. And but that's just a big if. I think the big thing I thought you were actually going to ask me, look, Peyton Manning now has been out, if I'm right, 6 games or 5 games.
This will be Brock's 6th start, I believe.
This will be a 6th start. That is 6 weeks out of practice rhythm. And it doesn't matter how long you've played in the NFL. You guys know it. As an offensive lineman, as an ex-quarterback, Paul, whatever, practice gives you a lot of things. It gives you faith. It gives you rhythm. It makes you comfortable. There's many, many things involved. And people said, just one quick example, Tony Romo was out this year. Oh, he's going to come back. Everything's going to change. Well, I watched it all extremely carefully and closely, and they won in Miami. But I don't know, people overlooked it. I thought Tony Romo played really below average in the game.
Yeah.
But, everything he did that went right, that's what he does. And I think Tony Romo's a great quarterback, but it's hard to overcome all that time off. Then we see against Carolina, it's all over the place, and unfortunately he got hurt. But, he was even playing badly in that game, decisions. The throwing wasn't even close to being sharp enough from the guy I saw before. So that would worry me the most about Peyton Manning. The long time off, I've seen it with him before when he was hurt in one preseason. It took him about 4 or 5 weeks to get back in rhythm down in Indianapolis in the height of his career. So that's if he gets back in that lineup, if he gets healthy enough, it's going to be a lot to overcome. Time off and an offensive line that does not pass protect that great.
Phil, before we let you go here, let's finish up here right where we started. You mentioned you had a rare Sunday on the couch yesterday watching NFL football. Do you find yourself analyzing the quarterbacks more or the analysts that you're listening to?
I do listen, but no, I watch everything. I think TV that's the great thing about the coverage of the NFL now, guys. I mean, you can watch the coverages. I know who's making mistakes. I know when the quarterback throws it, I go, oh my gosh, didn't he read the coverage? This guy did, So I do it all, and I tell you, I do realize this. As much as I pay attention, and I'm a huge fan, that I realize no matter who you are, you're not going to sit there and live and die with every word an announcer says. And, you drift in and out when it comes to listening, but you watch. So, it's interesting that way. So I kind of learned from that going, okay, you don't have to make every damn thing you say like the most important thing in the world because it's
right?
not.
That's a good point.
So that's kind of fun. But it's amazing now, the way the game is covered, how much you can see and how much you can learn just watching games on TV.
Hey, Phil, we appreciate your time. I know it's a big few weeks here, Super Bowl year for you here at CBS, so I'll let you get back to studying, and thanks for spending time here with us.
Ross, Paul, thank you, man. And, Paul, let me say one more time, I apologize for the mix-up, and we'll make it up. Next time you're on, the next time we get a chance, I'll come in there and we'll have a lot of fun.
You'll deal with me in the backyard again soon for another throwing session. I'm going to hit you up on that.
Do I look forward to that.
More, believe me, I'm looking forward to it more, Ross. I can feel it.
Real quick, he hung in there for 2 hours. In the last 20 minutes, he had to kind of finally break down a little.
That was about 300 or 400 balls later, Phil.
But it was good. I was impressed, and you got better during that time, which was really even better. It was great. It was a great time, a lot of fun, and look forward to talking to you guys soon.
We'll do it again. Hey, Phil, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, it's Phil Simms of CBS Sports.